Hello and welcome to my world and this week's casual review of Resident Evil 5. But before we talk about that, let's talk about merchandise, t-shirts, things of that sort, specifically stuff that was requested. There was a comment several weeks ago at the time I'm recording this for there to be new shirts available in the Stream Elements shop. That link is in the description below. One was for the Space Lounge to be put on a t-shirt. It was on a mug. Now it's finally on a t-shirt. You can get it via my Stream Elements link. Again, that's in the description below. We also have the logo, my current the Gamer Bunny logo, well, aka the watermark thing that you see not on my Twitter account, my Twitch account, my here on YouTube. So there we go. Both the pieces of artwork were designed by my good friend Damon's Wolf, and again they are available via the Stream Elements link in the description below, or you can just go to my Twitch channel. You will find the link there in the panel section and so forth. All right, that mindless plug out of the way. Let's talk about Resident Evil 5. It being the first Resident Evil game I featured on my Twitch channel in terms of a beginning to end playthrough. We did take a brief look at Resident Evil Code Veronica for the PlayStation 2 last year, but that was part of like a random night of just messing around from game to game. But we've never played a Resident Evil game fully on my channel until this year, 2023. And I'm really glad I played it because it fit the theme of what we do normally on Wednesday nights with my good buddy Iceman, and that is we've played co-op adventure games. And it's also one of the few horror games I've actually played on my Twitch channel as well. And I know Resident Evil 5 is kind of like a sore point for a lot of folks, but let's keep in mind that it is it was for the longest time the best-selling Resident Evil game of all time. It was a huge seller for Capcom. And now the version I played was the HD remaster, the gold edition that's available for the Xbox One. And outside of getting used to the controls, I thought it was a really fun experience of beginning to end. There were some shenanigans in terms of cheap deaths, which is amazing considering we did the playthrough on amateur difficulty because we don't do anything harder than we need to in terms of the video games we play. But I don't. The controls took a little while to get used to, in terms of like an action shooter, and but once I got used to them and messed around with the settings and really messing around with the mercenaries mode to practice, I gradually felt more comfortable in knowing how and being able to quote unquote defend myself within the context of the game. And also a big credit to my buddy Iceman, who has done numerous playthroughs of Resident Evil 5 since its initial release on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 era. So this was a lot of fun. The story is about as hokey as it can get because hey, it is Resident Evil. Hokiness is basically what Resident Evil was built on. Don't believe me? Go look up the the trailer for Resident Evil that was released on a PC Gamer demo disc back in the late 90s. Again, Resident Evil was built on hokiness and how over the top a lot of the boss fights and the particularly towards the end of the game with Wesker was just had me laughing quite a lot while focusing on the game because folks know I tend to focus on it. But I thought RE5 was very engaging, and as things went along with the enemy varieties and seeing the story come together and actually understanding the context as to why Jill Valentine was given a really bad makeover in terms of being a pasty faced blonde. Makes sense in a lot of ways. But the real joy to Resident Evil 5 to me is the fact that it is a co-op experience. Um, and there are very few co-op adventure games that are available uh, these days. So I would happily say I would put Resident Evil 5 in that category of a game. It's clearly ripping off in numerous ways and the Gears of War games, because the influence of Gears of War is clearly there in terms of it being a co-op experience and separation, needing to split up and things of that sort. Not to mention again the color scheme and the overall tone of the level layout. It does remind me a lot of Gears of War. Music score was all right. Visually, again, this was the Xbox One version I was playing, not the Xbox 360 version. So it holds up rather well, which actually raises a question though. Where does the Capcom remakes go of the Resident Evil series at this point? Because visually, Resident Evil 5 holds up, since it was technically already remastered, holds up very well. And even more so, Resident Evil 6, which at the time of this recording, I am just playing on Wednesday nights. Uh, so so there's so do we get a remake of Resident Evil 5? Or does Capcom actually does their smart thing and remake the real Resident Evil 3, which is Code Veronica, and Resident Evil 0? And I would say remake Resident Evil 0 and make that a true co-op experience instead of it being a glorified escort mission from start to finish. Would actually be the safe bet there in terms of remaking games, because RE5 holds up very well. But if Resident Evil 5 is going to get a remake, it definitely needs to keep the full co-op campaign. And I would say give it better controls. I would say give it the controls of Resident Evil 6, which are very fluid and very fun, very and reactive. And not to mention there is actually a better inventory management system in Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil 5. But I digress there. When I finish Resident Evil 6, we'll talk about that one fully, because I do have thoughts and opinions on that. But that's for down the road when we finish that game. Would I play Resident Evil 5 again? Most definitely, for one big reason, and that is the ability to unlock infinite ammo for every single weapon once you upgrade it. So, not to mention replaying it and trying it on harder difficulty settings, going for those additional trophies achievements. Since we're playing, it would be the Xbox version that I would be playing. So yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts, opinions, my general review, shooting off the top of my head regarding Resident Evil 5. If you would like to hang out over on my Twitch channel, that link is in the description below. Again, as well as a link to the Stream Elements shop if you want to grab a t-shirt or something, or mug. Helps me out and helps the channel out in numerous ways. So with that said, tighten your friendship bracelet, stay safe, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. It would be appreciated. And we'll see y'all in the next video, whatever it may be.